there's a lot going on in the world, you know, and there's, I mean, the Supreme Court's about to overturn Roe v. Wade, and a violent attack on women's rights that everybody, you know, left of Mitch McConnell's nuts should be up in arms about. The January 6th committee hearings are going to be televised this week and are going to tell a story of the worst attack on our Capitol and our democracy since the Civil War. And so, and obviously, and there's a midterm coming up. So clearly, the lines have been drawn, and we need to focus on the real threat and the circumstance. So that's why Jimmy Dore is doing Biden to hike Medicare premiums and funnel profits to private insurers. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this is an act of sheer propaganda based on what would be normal governmental budgetary business, you know, dealt with in the previous year of the last year of the Trump administration's budget, going into the cycle and setting a price point for the future of this. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that that's where this falls into, and that and funnel profits to private insurers. But the direct line here is the shocking part. This is the part that's a big sell. So we'll see if that turns out to be true. Biden to hike Medicare premiums, that's what he's doing it for, and funnel profits to private insurers. That's what he's going to do. He's going to take the money, he's going to raise the cost of Medicare, and he's going to take that money and give it straight to private insurers. This is not, don't talk to me about one program deals with something and this program deals with something else. No. If you take this from that, this goes to this thing. So let's see. Now this is, Jesus Christ, this is 21 minutes. I don't feel like we have to do the whole thing. We'll see. I just want to see if he let's give him 5 minutes to make his point. Let's see.
Biden has a plan to rebuild our economy, Nick.
Jesus Christ, that's loud. Hold on. So this starts with a tweet from the Democrats. President Biden has a plan to rebuild our economy from the bottom up and the middle out. Republicans have a plan that could raise taxes on working families and end the Social Security and Medicare guarantee, which is true because they literally are talking about sunset laws. That's one of the things that Rick Scott put forward that was going to be the plan for the Republicans once they take control, is that all government laws, regulations, rules sunset after 5 years. That would include Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, S-chip, everything. And unless they had the votes to re-up it, it doesn't happen. And so they basically guarantee that Rand Paul alone could end Social Security in one cycle.
From the bottom up and the middle out. So he's saying F you to the rich people at the top sides.
At the top sides.
Republicans have a plan.
Jimmy's sick. Jimmy's got a nasal thing, something like that.
That could raise taxes on working families and end the Social Security and Medicare guarantee. He said that on May 28th.
But no French cuffs. However, the stitching on his shirt is like the body of it is attached. Like the sleeves are that's some odd tailoring. Someone spent money to make that shirt fit weirdly.
It's the Democrats saying that.
See that? How it stretched? What is the attachment on that sleeve? What's happening there? What is that?
Right. So they're saying you got a Biden. He's here for you. He's here for the poor, regular working class people.
Yeah. Have you looked at the job figures lately? Have you looked at their focus? Have you looked at the American Rescue Plan and what was in it? Of course not. You think Jimmy's read the American Rescue Plan? Are you kidding me? You think he even knows what's in the fucking infrastructure bill? It's probably just a giveaway to weapons manufacturers. They're just making roads out of nuclear weapons and bullets. Raytheon's probably doing the internet.
And he's going to protect your Medicare. And he's going to protect your thing. And all of a sudden, whoa, what's going on?
Whoa, what's going on? Biden hikes Medicare prices and funnels profits to private insurance. Okay, so he's just taking it. He's taking the title of his own video from an article from The Lever. This I have not seen. We'll look on here. The Lever, Biden hikes. That should give us the whole thing, right? Okay, so The Lever let's see, podcasts. Who's on? Let's see. Oh, okay. So here you go. So this is The Lever, David Sirota. Lever Live, they have a show, which is David again. Labor, health, climate, business, politics. This is the title of it. And then this is the article, June 1st, Matthew Cunningham Cook. The largest ever Medicare premium increase will pad the pockets of insurance executives who donated millions to the president's election campaign. Well, that's interesting. Let's find out if that's true. Last week, the administration quietly affirmed its decision to enact the highest. Why is that in the Inquirer, since that's a link from the Inquirer? Well, let's look at that link right away. But, whoops, hold on. Go away. Please. I don't have that. Continue. I don't want to read that. The Philadelphia Inquirer? Why is it from there? Okay, anyways, we'll find that out by another source. Give me a second. At the same time, highest premier right before the midterm elections. At the same time, President Joe Biden is endorsing a plan to funnel significantly more Medicare money to insurance companies and further privatize the government insurance program for older Americans and those with disabilities. All right, well, let's see. Let's see if that's actually the case. In effect, the higher premium increases will subsidize the larger payments to and profits for private insurance corporations. This comes after Biden raked in roughly $47 million from healthcare industry executives during his 2020 campaign. Clearly, he's in the pocket of big insurance. The Biden administration announced on May 27th that due to legal and operational hurdles, Medicare recipients won't see their premiums lowered this year, even though that rate was originally hiked last November in large part due to the projected costs of paying for a controversial Alzheimer's drug that Medicare now says it generally will not cover. Okay, so that's and by the way, as announced on May 27th, okay, let's open this. But the Biden administration announced this. Won't lower seniors' Medicare premiums this year despite changes to coverage's new alternate. Okay, they won't do it. By Rachel Kors. Let's see. Okay. I can't read it because you have to. Okay. Are they just basically going to only link to places you have to buy to? At this point, I think David Sirota works for all these newspapers. The Biden administration on Friday said it will not lower Medicare premiums for adults 65 and over this year, even though their costs spiked based on inflated financial projections for the beleaguered Alzheimer's drug Aduhelm. Xavier said in January, publicly announced he was ordering Medicare to consider dropping older adults' premiums in the middle of this year, which would have been an unprecedented move. But the administration has decided against the change due to legal and operational hurdles, the department said Friday afternoon. Oh, due to legal and operational hurdles. So the assertion here is that that's not true, that they're using that. Won't see their premiums lowered this year. They'll see them lowered next year because of the other stuff, because of monoclonal antibodies and other stuff that were added into the. Okay, we'll see. Even though that the rate was originally hiked last November in large part due to the projected cost of paying for the Aduhelm. Administration now comes to Biden announced to move forward with a jolting 8.5% hike in payments made to private insurers operating Medicare Advantage plans next year. Okay, let's see that. The growth in share of Medicare Advantage spending, Medicare Advantage spending as a share of total Medicare spending to double over a 20-year period. Medicare Advantage is on track to increase from 26% of Medicare spending in 2010 to 54% in 2030. This is the cost of Medicare Advantage. They're going to spend more on that than they are on traditional Medicare. All right. Earlier this week, the Biden administration announced the first Medicare Advantage rates for 2023, which are projected to result in an average increase in Medicare Advantage plan revenue of 8.5% compared to 2022. Highest rate expected in increase in recent years. All right. Let's see. Increase in Medicare Advantage plan revenue of 8.5%, not necessarily the cost. We'll see. The payments to Medicare Advantage plans as a share of total Medicare spending, Part A and Part B services have increased from 26%, to 45% in 2020 and are expected to rise to 54% in 2030. Well, that's right. That's on track. According to that, more than half of Medicare Part A and B spending by 2024. The increase in federal spending on Medicare Advantage corresponds to rapid growth in Medicare Advantage enrollment, as well as people choosing to join Medicare Advantage and add on to it. Okay. As well as higher and faster growing payments per Medicare Advantage enrollee compared to spending in traditional Medicare, because the amount of people adding their own money to it versus the amount that the government pays into it is different. This is dickish. This is a percentage game. Fucking hell. All right, let's continue from where this is. Okay, the idea is that because this expansion is going the way it's going, and that they haven't stopped it because people are enrolling more and more. And notice it didn't say cost was going to go up 8.5%. The cost is, and it's a buy-in, by the way. You don't have to have it. Medicare Advantage. And if you're going to buy into it, you're subsidizing the people who can't afford to buy into it. So therefore, people who add their own money on top of the money that that came out of their checks over the years that allows them to get this, the people who buy into it when they're over 65, instead of having private insurance, are going to, all right, this is just stupid. All right. So, but the article itself, that he cites, largest ever Medicare premium increase will pad the pockets of insurance executives who donated to me. Okay, no, it won't. That's people choosing to join Medicare Part A. They're raising the Medicare premium. Medicare, if you'll notice, when the poor people who need it, don't pay a premium. It's the add-on services that you buy that are going up because they're providing more stuff. Specifically, this Alzheimer's drug, which everybody's saying is not going to be used very much. So why should you pay for it? Because it's $56,000 a year for this drug. But the question is it going to work and stuff? And that's part of the budget. And they have to wait and see. And it's going to be the end of 22 before they even fucking know.
What's going on, Joe? Biden hikes Medicare prices.
Yeah, why read the article when you can just read the title of an article that buries the lead?
And funnels profits to private insurers. Get the F out of here. What's going on? Last week, the Biden administration quietly reaffirmed its decision to enact the highest Medicare premium hikes in history. Right before this year's midterm election.
Well, there you go. So let's see. Okay, the Biden juxtaposition. Okay, where? Okay, here we go. Announcement made to do the legal opportunity, even though the rate would hike. The administration comes as I don't see. That's the same article. Yeah, here we go. So that's the top of the article. That's what you're talking about. Last week, Biden administration quietly reaffirmed its decision to enact the highest, and that's judging on this thing. Again, it wouldn't let me read it, so super fun. Right before the midterm elections, at the same time, endorsing a plan to funnel significantly more Medicare money to insurance companies. Now, is he just going to funnel the money and it's going to go straight to them as profit, or are they going to be providing more services that weren't previously available, and therefore more money will go through, but the profit ratio might either remain the same or even shrink? Why would that be even a thought? Let's see. We'll see. All right.
At the same time, President Joe Biden is endorsing a plan to funnel significantly more Medicare money to
Medicare money. Again, reading opinion as fact.
Insurance companies and further privatize the government insurance program for older Americans and those with disabilities.
Okay, that's a lie. And that is based on precisely what we were just looking at in that graph. This is what they consider the further privatization. That's not what's happening. Medicare Advantage spending as a share of total Medicare spending to double over a 20-year period. That's people buying into more and more services that might be more expensive, but the number of people served that are below the poverty line or need it is going to remain effectively stable-esque as a populace. This does not tell you anything about the volume of privatization versus public. This just means that the share of available services that you can buy into that aren't natural to this part of it, that are extensions of it are going to increase because of what you're able to buy into and the other programs that you're available to. With the minor subsidy that you get through Medicare and Medicaid, the insurance companies are going to be offering more stuff, and so a slightly tick up. You buy more of a plan. There's Medicare Part A, Part B. You can buy into into these things at a slightly higher premium, and you can get more stuff. Is the idea? All right, it's dentistry, eyes, hearing, mental health. Those are all and like psychological, pharmaceuticals, those kind of things. All these are new technical things being added over time that are either not necessary, but are, long-term health related. If you want to pay for it, it's the kind of thing you want. But baseline where, the government's not going to buy a bunch of stuff that you're not going to need necessarily. Yeah, this is not supplementing this. This is basically remaining a steady or even growing amount as far as people are, in the program. But more and more people who are in the program will be able to buy into other stuff. This is fucking hell. All right, but let's see. All right, let's see where he goes.
Man, it's so much better having him do this than Trump.
Again, that's not the same thing. The Republicans, hold on. Let's see if there's really no difference. One is doing a cost-based price increase on some services on the buy-in part of Medicare. And Rick Scott, speaking on behalf of the Republicans, want to fucking sunset both of them. But there's no difference. You know what I mean? Isn't it?
It feels better to have a Democrat who's also responsible for black and brown people being incarcerated at much higher rates than white.
No, he's talking about the crime bill. That's not why. That's a misnomer. Most of the black mayors in the country, the Congressional Black Caucus, all supported the crime bill. Increasingly, there's calls for it similarly because there is not a direct linkage between black people and crime. And people who have crime enacted on them are most of the time share the same race. And so nobody has an interest in sort of racially homogenous legal systems establishing some sort of different standard for people. That's not what's going on. It's garbage. And the fact that he's rolling back to the fucking crime bill is hilarious.
It's just better to have him do it than Trump, because it would feel creepy. It would make us feel like bad people. But the fact that Joe Biden's doing it and his vice president is black, it makes me feel better. In effect, the higher premium increases will subsidize the
In effect.
larger payments to and profits for.
Well, no, the larger payments might be true, but if there's more services available, then the profit margin is the same. That's another argument. Again, this goes to the whole thing. What's the difference between income, revenue, and profits?
Private insurance corporation. That's
like, I understand this. I want individual states to have their own single payer systems that as Americans, you can choose which one you want. That there might be a federal one, but there's also one that you can go through the Massachusetts one, or if Washington State wants one or whatever, and you can buy into those if they work better and they service you better. And any profits made from it build infrastructure and pay for schools and shit like that. Think of it as the instead of gambling on the insurance actuarials, doing that as opposed to the lottery.
Weird that Joe Biden is acting at the behest and at the behalf of rich corporations, healthcare corporations, over the individual needs of citizens. I did not see Joe Biden doing that. It's weird he's doing that. He's such a much better person than Donald Trump.
Well, he's got to play ball if he wants to get those insulin prices down.
That's yeah. This comes after Biden raked in roughly $47 million from healthcare industry executives.
Oh, that's in red text. Do we look at that? Okay, this is roughly 47 million. Okay, here we go. Business Insider. We combed through records of 100 healthcare executives to see who their top executives were doing. Let's see. This is from The Hill, Business Insider. We combed through records of 100 healthcare companies to see who their top executives are donating to in the 2020 election. They reveal a surprising trend. Healthcare executives are favoring Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden when it comes to their personal campaign donations. So the $2,500 each, whatever. An insider analysis is found. Insider reviewed campaign donation disclosures linked to 100 major healthcare companies this election cycle and found that the CAOs from Merck, Independence Blue Cross, and Kaiser Permanente were among the largest contributors to Biden. So none of them make hydroxychloroquine, I'm guessing. Biden has promised to raise taxes and overhaul the healthcare system, partly by controlling prescription drug prices and health insurance costs, but that hasn't stopped healthcare bosses from choosing him over President Donald Trump. Executives in business like certainty, Bruce Freed, the president of the Center for Political Accountability, said. And the fact is, there's been a great deal of uncertainty and instability. Healthcare executives have a clear favorite for the White House, and it's not the person who gave them a big tax cut 3 years ago. America's top fucking hell.
During his 2020. So here's his payback. There you go. The Biden
There you go. Well, where's Trump's payback?
administration announced on May 27th that due to legal and operational hurdles, Medicare recipients won't see their premiums lowered this year, even though that rate was originally hiked last November, in large part due to the projected cost of paying for a controversial Alzheimer's drug that Medicare now says it generally will not cover.
Generally will not cover. Shall we look into let's see. It's Alderon or whatever it is, Alderon. The CASA Medicare Advantage plans. These are the ones you buy into a campaign trail to defend our nation's thing. But since taking office, it's expanded by launching an ACO REACH program, which will continue to promote ever-increasing Medicare Advantage. Because they're trying to get people to get into Medicare Advantage. They want you to enroll in it. So it's expanding how much it is. That's what the ACO REACH thing is. Hold on one second. So I'm looking for the name of that drug. I'll go back to that other page. Hold on. Get out of here. Exclusive to. Why is this? I don't have to join the friggin'. Okay, hold on. Medicare Alzheimer's drug controversial. I don't know. We'll find it that way. This is what I do. I just respond to stuff. Medicare limits payments for new Alzheimer's drug to clinical trials. That's what they're talking about. This is the one. Okay. The federal government on Thursday affirmed its plan to limit coverage for a costly new medication for Alzheimer's disease, restricting it to Medicare patients enrolled in clinical trials. So if you're in one of the clinical trials for it, it has not passed clinical trials. Medicare patients will get that paid for, but people who are not in the clinical trials because they haven't finished the clinical trials are not going to get, we're not going to pay the pharmaceutical company that makes the drug until the clinical trials are done. Despite the Food and Drug Administration's accelerated approval of the drug Aduhelm last June. Well, let's see. When did this happen? Okay, last June. Let's look at this. FDA grants accelerated approval for Alzheimer's drug. Today, the U.S. approved Aduhelm, aducanumab. Okay, so it's a monoclonal antibody. That's what a MAB is. By the way, anytime you see MAB on the end of a drug, that's a monoclonal antibody for the treatment of Alzheimer's, a debilitating disease affecting 6.2 million Americans. Aduhelm was approved using the accelerated approval pathway, which can be used for a drug for serious or life-threatening illnesses. Okay, so they approved it for accelerated approval, but they'll only pay for people doing the clinical trials, and they're trying to get more people into the clinical trials. So if you have it, they'll pay for it. Fucking hell. Let's see. Aduhelm represents a first-of-its-kind treatment approved for Alzheimer's disease. It is the first new treatment approved for Alzheimer's disease since 2003 and is the first therapy that targets the fundamental pathophysiology of the disease. Researchers evaluated Aduhelm's efficacy in 3 separate studies representing a total of 3,482 patients. The studies consisted of double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled, dose-ranging studies in patients with Alzheimer's disease. Patients receiving the treatment had significant dose and time-dependent reduction of amyloid beta plaque, which patients in the control arm of the studies had no reduction of amyloid beta plaque. The results support the accelerated approval of it, which is based on the surrogate endpoint of reduction of amyloid beta plaque in the brain, a hallmark of Alzheimer's disease. It was quantified using positron emissions tomography, a PET scan, to estimate the brain levels of amyloid beta plaque in composite. Can't you guys call that ABP at this point? Related information on Aduhelm. It was granted fast-track designation, which seeks to expedite the development and review of drugs that are intended to treat serious conditions where initial evidence is okay. So this drug is. They fast-tracked it, and they're going to pay for it for some people, but during the clinical trials, they're not paying for everybody to get it, so the price won't get passed on. The idea was that, well, since they're not going to give it to everybody yet, the cost increase folded that into it, and therefore it shouldn't be part of the price tag. Now, we'll look at what the price tag is in a minute.
So they hiked the prices up for a drug you're not even getting, and now he won't lower them back.
He won't lower them back.
The administration's announcement comes as Biden's officials move forward with a jolting 8.5% hike in payments. Made to private insurers operating Medicare Advantage plans next year.
Yes, payments, not profits. Because more people are joining it. The Biden administration literally sought to get more people to join. Hold on. Where's that program? The President Biden. There's a name for it. Hold on. I have to look up the Biden Medicare Advantage. Whoops, push. Let's see. Biden administration follows stat news. Let's see. Medicare Advantage poised to take off in 2022. Okay, so this is part of what they're talking about. Medicare Advantage poised to take off in 2022. Look for even more seniors to flock to Medicare Advantage in 2022 as the Biden administration, health insurers, and investors bolster this privatized form of health coverage for those 65 and older. Already established health insurers, including United Health Group, United Healthcare, Humana, CVS Health's Aetna, Cigna, and Anthem expanded into hundreds of new counties for this year to sell Medicare Advantage in this increasingly competitive business. But there have already been signals from annual health insurer investor days and venture capital firms that Medicare Advantage will continue taking a larger share of seniors moving away from traditional Medicare to these privatized MA plans in 2022 and beyond. That's what they're afraid of. So we continue to prioritize our high growth markets, CVS. So specifically in healthcare, we focused on growing our government business, dual eligibles, Medicare Advantage exchange plans instead of just singular plans. CVS, which owns the nation's third largest health insurance in Aetna, has 3 million seniors enrolled in its Medicare Advantage plans. And these health insurers see a market of more than 10,000 Americans a day turning 65 years old and becoming eligible for Medicare and Medicare Advantage in particular. Medicare Advantage plans contract with the federal government to provide extra benefits and services to seniors, such as disease management and nurse help hotlines, which also offer vision, dental care, and wellness programs. The Biden administration released new figures last month that showed more than 27 million Americans were enrolled in a Medicare Advantage plan as of October 2021. That's more than 40% of the total Medicare enrollment of 63 million people. Startups and smaller health plans are also gaining traction from investors, helping them expand in markets for Medicare Advantage. These startups see a substantial market to work with to convert to a private plan from traditional Medicare. Take Zing Health, a Chicago-based Medicare Advantage insurer, which its chief executive says is focused on creating superior health outcomes for seniors across underserved communities. Increasingly, health insurers are working to address social determinants of health, and Zing sees a niche in markets not historically served by Medicare Advantage. Last month landed a $25 million investment from Town Hall Ventures and Levitt Equity Partners to invest firms focused on healthcare growth companies. This new infusion of capital will enable Zing to broaden its reach and continue to provide the best quality healthcare to underserved populations. Okay, so there you go. That's what they're talking about. The expansion of 8.5% is because of the expansion of companies into it and more people signing up for it and more people, boomers in particular, turning 65.
Juxtaposition between dramatically increasing payments to private insurance plans that provide less care for higher costs on the one hand and keeping seniors.
And again, why are you performing this person's, David Sirota's writing? Just read it.
Premiums are
because inflecting your voice doesn't make it more or less right necessarily. I mean, I understand you got to do a little story time, but this is silly.
Artificially inflated. On the other, underscores the Biden administration's conflicting commitments when it comes to Medicare. I wouldn't say conflicting commitment. Who wrote this? Fucking Dave. I bet you did David fucking Sirota, apologist for the Democrats, right?
Yes, he did. You don't even know who wrote the article you're quoting as fact?
That's who wrote this, right?
Yes, it is.
When they say that, they mean they say one thing and they do another, and that's a conflicting commitment.
Oh, that's what he means by a conflicting commitment.
No. There's the balancing act between what the voters may want or see as a positive or a negative and what the financial community around it might want from you or expect from you if indeed they are donating to you because they expect some sort of help. Now, in the case of the fact that Trump gave them these healthcare companies a huge tax break, and Biden was actually talking about and running on tightening the screws on them, which he has been doing, that would be contrary to that thought.
Yeah,
it's called real politic.
Real politic. On the 2020 campaign trail.
Okay, we're just going to read the fucking article. I already read it to everyone. Skip to the end, man and wife.
Biden pledged as president to continue to defend our nation's commitment to older Americans and people with disabilities through Medicare. That's what that is.
Wait, what are you pulling your balls? What is that? Who does two hand gestures? What's happening? Are you washing them? Is it?
But since taking office, Biden has expanded Medicare privatization by launching the involuntary ACO REACH.
The involuntary ACO REACH program. Let's hear. Accountable Care Organization, Realizing Equity, Access, and Community Health REACH model. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services has redesigned the global and professional direct contracting model to advance administration priorities, including our commitment to advancing health equity in response to stakeholder feedback and participant experience. The Center for Medicare and Medicaid Innovation, the Innovation Center, is releasing a request for applications to solicit a cohort of participants for the Accountable Care Organization Realizing Equity, Access, and Community Health REACH model. The GPDC model will be renamed the ACO REACH model to better align the model's name with the purpose to encourage healthcare providers to coordinate care to improve the care offered to people with Medicare, especially those from underserved communities, a priority of the Biden-Harris administration. Yeah, they can't get out of it. Now, if you're dealing with Medicare, you have to act in an equitable way towards underserved communities. How dare he? How dare he? And wait, you're telling me that forcing these companies to expand their actual coverage in underserved communities is going to raise the costs of the buy-in part? Fucking hell. Yeah, I'm done too. I gave him 5 minutes. It's 4:15.
ACO REACH program. I never Never heard of that.
No? You'd think you'd fucking read up on it. You have a computer right in front of you. I just looked it the fuck up.
The ACO REACH program, and through continuing to promote ever-increasing Medicare Advantage enrollment. So he's privatizing a program people...
No. People are already moving to the privatized parts of it, and it pays for the people who can't afford the privatized parts of it, and it's an addition to it. There's going to be more people doing it because there's going to be a lot of people aging.
love, and he's making it worse.
Wasn't that the big Republican threat that they always said, these crazy Republicans?
They said
No.
Republicans were going to do this, and now look at the Democrats doing this.
This is all because of baby boomers retiring. This is a demographic thing.
Why? Because they're the same party.
There we go. All right, we're done. That's there you go. So right before the midterms, that's what Jimmy Dore is running on, because they're the same party. This is what, like, half-assed understanding of reality. Yes, I know this is why the guy got fired from TYT. No, I think he got fired from TYT because he spit on Alex Jones. Pretty sure that was the last straw. He was with, like, Cenk and Anna and those guys, and he spit on Alex Jones. And then the Gavin Long killings sort of sealed the deal. Because Gavin Long, murdered 3 cops and left one in a wheelchair paralyzed, basically just ambushed them and killed them. And he quoted Jimmy a lot in his videos. So anyways, this whole thing, like, this is Jimmy and in some ways David Sirota with their sour grapes about, it's weird that they even have this because they hate Sanders now. It's odd. Hal, I just don't think they should call it Medicare Advantage. It should have a completely different name. Lots of people aren't cognizant to know the difference. Derek, they are when they buy into it. They understand that you're informed. I mean, there might be people who don't understand, but most of the time, those people aren't going to be the kind of people who can afford to buy into the system anyways. So, Medicare disadvantage, right? It's an augment because there's just stuff that, and it's too specific and too narrow for a government program to handle it. There are too many needs that people have that are niche that can't be covered by a broad swath program like Medicare, especially when it comes to people aging, because there's the trend design on healthcare in Medicare is designed for the things that kill most people, the things that make most people ill as they age. And so when you have divergence from that, those end up being huge spikes in costs that undermine the ability to deal with what saves the most lives over time. So Medicare Advantage and those kind of things are meant to augment those areas where that if you tried to spread it thinly over everything else, it would capsize it. That's why. Is it a perfect system? No. Is there a better system to be at? Sure. But that's the attempt is. And the reason there's a volume increase in it is because the baby boomers are all retiring at the same time. I mean, this is a huge arc towards it. It's exactly where it's going. And the idea is that, the taxpayer base that will pay for people who are on Medicare, for example, who are older, as far as taxes that go in, is going to be smaller than the group of old people as they age and pass away. That's the reality.